welcome back to my channel. It is 2021 and it feels exactly the same as 2020 so far. Right now I'm back to crazy me, sleeping 4 hours a night, being woo, nuts. Your little crazy ray of sunshine is back. If you hear paper rustling, these are my notes. Don't worry, it's not as long as it looks like. Recently, my niece messaged me on Instagram and she just had to do a rant. She was upset about something. Being a supportive auntie, I said, well, at first I just read it and I just kind of stared and I wasn't sure what to say. Because, you know, sometimes you're just not sure that quite the right thing to say and you don't want to say the wrong thing. Her journey is not my journey. And I was just like, it was a lot to unpack and I really wanted to think about it. And I really wanted to respect what she said and respond correctly. From the heart, what my heart told me was, after the rant, she said, sorry, I had to rant. I'm so upset about this. I'm thinking about just posting it on my social media for everyone to see and letting people know how I feel. And I said, do it, because I think everything she said was valid and important. It was educational. It was not her just going off. It was well stated. I learned some things and it made me really think about some of the things she said. I actually started thinking back, oh wow, have I said or done anything that could have been misconstrued or come off to make her or anyone feel uncomfortable? So we decided to do a collab. I don't know if it's more difficult for me or her. She was more nervous, I think, about just really expressing herself about it. I have just really struggled with recording this and knowing what to say. And here's why. My niece sent me the video that she recorded and she said, here, you want to watch mine? And I watched it. It is called Ableism from the Mental Health Community during 2020. My niece has disabilities. She has invisible illnesses. She has fibromyalgia. She is in a lot of chronic pain, has flares. She struggles a lot with her health. And it's just, I hate that she does. I wish I could just like wave a magic wand and she'd feel great. That's the one thing. If I could do that, I'd be happy. I would probably be like, look, I would sacrifice something just to like, you know, make her feel better. Cause I just hate that she has to go through this. It's not fair. It's not fair that anybody has to feel that kind of pain on a daily basis. Or, you know, the one thing I will say though is she has never allowed herself to be defined by these disabilities. There's always something that she's doing to overcome it or to let it not define who she is as a person. She lives that thing, I am not my illness, which is really, really commendable. And I'm just so proud of her. She's so strong. I don't think she really gets a lot of credit for how strong she is a lot of the times. So when she asked me to do this collab, it was a little weird because even my friend said, I told him I was doing this collab and he's like, why are you doing it? You're not disabled. And I said, I know, right? It's a little cringy, like difficult, uncomfortable for me because how do I talk about ableism when I am not disabled? What I wanted to do was do this collab as someone who is not disabled, talking about ableism, to try to explain it, how I support her and how I try to listen to her and let her educate me so that maybe I can share that with other people. Also, this will hopefully foster conversations if you know or have friends or family members who are disabled or have invisible illnesses. Maybe this will open up a dialogue between you, or you can start talking to them and communicating. And it might also just make you a little more mindful of the things you say and the things you do that might come off as ableist. Not everyone knows what ableism is, so I do have a broad definition of it. Now, this is not a complete, all-encompassing definition. I'm just keeping this simple. Being ableist is defining people by their disability, discrimination in favor of able-bodied people, the assumption that people with disabilities want or need to be fixed, using disability as a punchline, or mocking people with disabilities. I think we can all agree all of that sucks. And if you do any of those things, you suck and you need to check yourself. And I don't even know what you're doing if you do any of those things. This is a thing that it's changed over the years. It used to be, ableism is just such a huge topic. That's one of the things that's difficult for me. It's like, how do I talk about this? I am no expert in this at all. In fact, I am a student of this because I am learning more about this from my niece than I am about any, from her and her experiences and what she goes through. I just really came up with some notes because I do not want to stomp on her message that she was trying to put out. My collab with her is in support of the video she posted, which will be linked below, but I will not speak for her. because if I did, that would be ableist. And I will explain. She was sharing with me in the DM that she sent me that kind of prompted this whole thing. She was sharing all her feelings about some things that she had seen online. I thought the worst thing I can do, and what would be a totally ableist thing to do, would to be to come out and say, I need to defend my niece. I need to tell these people they're wrong. They need to think about what they're saying, blah, blah, blah. I don't need to defend her. She can defend herself. I don't want to take her voice away. I don't want to stomp on what her message is, because this is her message and her voice saying ableism from the mental health community during 2020. She has experienced the ableism. I have not, because I am not disabled. For me to sit here and try to pretend or to assume to think I know what it's like to be disabled and how it feels to hear this, all I can do is listen to her and how she says it makes her feel and put myself in her place, which I think everyone should do. And that's what this video is about. There's so much to talk about. Basically, 2020, clusterfuck, hard for everyone, difficult. Everyone sacrificed. Everyone gave up a lot. Everyone lost a lot. People lost people. They lost jobs. They lost businesses. We all know the story. I'm not going to rehash it all. The thing is, everybody has their own struggle. We shouldn't compare whose struggle is worse, whose mental health is worse, who's had a harder time, who's had an easier time. Let's just all agree that everyone has some kind of struggle. And like the little saying, that meme that everyone is fighting a battle that you don't know, so try to be kind. Even though it's kind of a platitude, it's really true. You don't know what people are going through. Everybody is fighting their own little battles. I think we can all agree on that. The one thing we need to stop doing is saying that we, as whoever individual you are, we need to do this or that for our mental health, even if it hurts other people. So what I mean is, say, for example, influencers saying, well, I need to go out and party. I need to, Nikita Dragon, I'm looking at you. And I need to go out to bars and restaurants because that's my job. That's my brand. That's whatever. And for my mental health and to express myself creatively, I need to do this. No, you don't. You could do YouTube. You could do Instagram Live. You can make a party in your living room with cardboard stand-ups like Adam does. I mean, you don't need to go out to a bar and a restaurant and throw huge parties with all your friends and put people in danger and spread germs all over the place and possibly get people sick who have been doing everything right and staying home. But because you claim this is what you need to do, I gotta live my life, gotta do what makes me happy. If everybody, every minute of every day, did everything that made them happy at all times, this world would have self-destructed a long time ago. That's like saying if a serial killer is like, I gotta do what makes me happy, I'm gonna go out and go on a killing spree. No, I'm sorry. No, I hate rules more than anyone. I'm a rule breaker. I'm a lawless rule breaker. But there are things you do and you don't do. There is right and wrong, clearly. I am all for self-care. I am all for mental health. I am not for using this is for my mental health, being so selfish about your mental health that you do things that endanger other people's health and well-being. So when you say, well, my mental health needs include seeing 20 family members, going to church and going to parties. That's what I need for my mental health. Like, but do you though? Yeah, I know it's not the same not seeing people in person. Why is it you get to do that and nobody else does? And that's why people are pissed at all these influencers having parties. It's like, there are people out here like me, like other people I know, doing everything right. We're like staying home. We're ordering in. We're not doing stupid shit. We're wearing masks. This hand is cracked and bleeding right here because I washed my hands so much. I wash my hands a zillion times a day. I wear a mask. Even if my mailman comes up, I have a mask on. If a delivery comes up, I put my mask on and I go out to meet them. People are doing everything right. And then there are people going out doing whatever the hell they want for the sake of their mental health. What about everyone else's mental health who are doing everything right? My niece said what really set her off is people using this for my mental health excuse to go out and, gather in groups and do all the stuff you're not supposed to do. And she's like, that's kind of offensive to me, who is disabled and immunocompromised, and my mental health is just as damaged and messed up as anyone's, and I'm dealing with chronic pain. and I can't see anyone. But people who are totally healthy are like, wow, my mental health. And I understand her frustration. I mean, same thing here. I mean, I've been struggling with my own stuff all through 2020, and I still managed to keep myself afloat, just barely treading water through to make it through, but without doing anything stupid or risky. I wanted to go to my godfather's funeral, but I didn't because I knew there were going to be all elderly relatives there, and I would have to drive. I'd be in 3 states going from here through Ohio to Michigan, and I could not live with myself putting elderly relatives at risk when my godfather just died, just to go say goodbye to him. And yeah, I'm always going to kind of regret I couldn't be there, but I would regret it more if I made my elderly aunts very sick and possibly killed them if I carried a virus through Ohio and into Michigan. It wasn't worth it to me. The risk was not worth it. There's ways that you can take care of your own mental health without putting others in danger or making them feel like idiots for doing everything right, and you just go do whatever you want. I don't know why people think there's only one way to do things. I either go out and see everybody and have parties and have my job and do all my stuff I want to do, or else I'm miserable and I have nothing. No. You know what? I lost my job. I haven't taught yoga in so long. I don't even know if I remember how to do it anymore. I miss my students. I miss being in a class teaching people. It made me so happy. I would teach a class. I would come home. I would be glowing. It was like enlightenment. I felt so good sharing with people and seeing them have fun and discover what they could do and try new things. And I haven't been able to do that. I got really depressed and really miserable. One of the things I love is sharing knowledge that I have in teaching people. And I have no outlet for that now. But guess what? I do. You people out there. And even though I can't see you and I can't shake your hand or I can't hug you or I can't come up to you and give you a namaste, it doesn't mean that I can't still put this out there. And I've found that the more I'm doing my YouTube channel, I'm getting that same happy feeling that I got when I taught yoga. It's just different. And it doesn't mean it's not as good. It's as good, it's just different. So I think we need to find a balance with finding things that are good for us and that support our mental health, but without hurting other people, without putting other people in danger, without making other people feel like, oh, it's because of you. I think that was a thing too. My niece was feeling like, and like I said, I don't want to put words in her mouth. It's almost like the people who want to go out and party and do whatever the hell they want are very dismissive. People who are elderly or immunocompromised or disabled. It's like, oh, it's all their fault that we can't go do everything we want to do because we have to protect them. And then they start treating it like these people are collateral damage. Like it's okay if we lose X amount of disabled and old people because, then we'll get herd immunity. It's like, no, they are not collateral damage. They are not buildings. These are people with families and lives and loved ones and pets. You don't just do this elitist entitled thing like I'm able, and that's so ableist, it's like disgusting to say, oh, well, we're going to have acceptable losses. There is no acceptable losses. Tell someone that their son or daughter dying, or like if my niece got sick and died, tell me that's an acceptable loss. Just be like, oh, it's okay though, because, they were already sick or they were already old, and, we'll have herd immunity. People will start getting stronger, and, yeah, we're going to lose people, but it is what it is. It's like, no, it's not. That's not cool. That's awful. It's a terrible way to think. And there are way too many people thinking like that and saying things like that about, I don't know, it's distressing the way some people have worded things. And I don't think they think about it, and they don't think about what if you are a member of those communities, how that sounds to you. Let me just say, you're already immunocompromised. You're probably going to die early anyway. You're probably not going to live your whole life. And, we need herd immunity and we're all strong and we need to build up our immune. So can you just go ahead and, it's going to probably kill you, but it's for the greater good. But what the bullshit? What is that? Like, how dare you say that to someone? And you might not, they're not saying those words, but you have to understand people word things like, well, I got to go live my life. Well, I got to go out and do what I got to do. I need to do this for my mental health. I need to go to this party. I need to see my friends. I need to see my family. I need to have a party with 10 people or 20 people or 25 people. I need to have a wedding. I need to go to this funeral because it's for my mental health. Okay, your mental health is fixable. Your mental health, it waxes and wanes. Everybody has ups and downs. When somebody is immunocompromised, they get a virus that is probably going to kill them, that's not something they're just going to like bounce back from, or can go see a psychiatrist or take some antidepressants. They're going to be okay. Know what I mean? I'm not belittling mental health at all. I am a big proponent of self-care, mental health issues, and especially depression, because that's something I deal with. You do have to work on those things, and they are important. You have to put yourself first so that you can be there for other people. You don't put yourself first because you deserve to be first because you're strong and the strongest survive and you're entitled. You put yourself first so you can be of service to people who are not as strong as you and are not as capable and who might need your support. You want to be that way and not be ableist about it. You don't want to treat people who have disabilities like, I'm going to be strong so I can take care of you, so I can fix you, so I can help you. No, ask them if they need anything from you. Ask how you can be of help and support to them. You don't just use that as a way to make yourself sound better. That's why this is like such a weird video for me to make. I never want to seem like I'm going, oh, look at what I'm doing. I'm so supportive of my niece. It's like, that's not why I'm doing this. I don't know. I just feel like if I wasn't aware how much it bothered my own niece, who I was talking to 5 times a week, it didn't even occur to me how people saying, well, we're going to lose a lot of people just making offhanded comments that they aren't as mean as saying only the strong survive. Oh, you know, these people were old anyway. I mean, that's so dismissive and so awful to say in general. I mean, you know, think if they said that about your parents or about your spouse or about your niece or nephew or your kids, you know, you'd be pretty pissed off, I would guess. Somebody said that about someone you love. But it is weird for me to talk about ableism when I am not disabled, and all I can do is say I am talking about it because I want people to become more aware if you are lucky enough to be healthy and strong. I hate those platitudes like check in on people who aren't as strong, check in on immunocompromised. Don't just check in, listen to them. There's this pushing this whole thing on the news, everywhere like check in with everyone, check in with everyone. My niece wrote to me and she was talking about how upset she was, and I listened to her and she said, do you want to do a collab about this? Because I'm the one who told her go ahead and put this out there. And she was kind of like saying, will you do a collab with me? Because she wanted me to back her up. And I said, I believe in what you're saying. I think you're correct. And yes, I will support you and back you up. I got your back on this. Because she was really nervous to come out and say, look, when all you people are saying things like, I got to go out and live my life for my mental health. I got to go out and have parties and do whatever. And I'm going to do whatever the hell I want to do and screw the consequences. She's like, I am the consequence. I'm one of the consequences that they're saying screw the consequences. She's like, I'm one of the people who this will kill. Last March was when I started talking to her a lot. I was talking to my friend who's a doctor and we were kind of going back and forth. And I was trying to really chill her out because I said it seemed like on a daily basis I was kind of messaging with her, talking her off a ledge because she was just terrified. She said, you know, if I get this, I'm going to die. I don't want to die. She was just terrified. Nobody wants to feel that way every day. I mean, just going to a grocery store, doing anything. She's just terrified. And she lives in a college town here in Pennsylvania that had huge outbreaks as soon as school went back in the fall. Kids there were throwing COVID parties. Students were throwing COVID parties on the campus going, let's all get it. Then we could say we got it. Then we could go back to life. And then, you know, we'll be immune and we can just not care. And it was so awful. She was just every day seeing the news and knowing this was going on right where she lived was just horrible for her. None of these people care. They don't care about her. They don't care. You know, why would they? They just like, oh, I got to live my life. Let me get this and then I'll get over it. And then I can go back to my life. Then I can see all my friends and keep drinking and partying. Ladies and gentlemen, the future of our country. Yay, future leaders of America. Wonderful. Just great. But then there are all the students who are doing everything right. They're staying home. They're being very mindful. They're being very thoughtful. They're taking care of, they don't want to hurt anyone they love. They don't want to get any of their relatives sick. So they're being great about it. The ridiculousness that went on around where she lived, it was just, she was so stressed out. I can't even imagine just waking up every day and seeing the news and worried that she was going to just doing something something she had to do. She's been having things delivered as much as she can. She tries to not go in anywhere. You never know. You could do everything right and still get sick. So she's been very nervous all year. People who just kind of flout the authority and science and just say, screw it, I'm going to go do whatever I want. I'm going to go to rallies. I'm going to go do this, that, and the other. Believe me, if anybody wanted to go to marches and rallies for social justice, it's my niece. If anybody would have wanted to celebrate Pride Day and go to parades and go to marches and things, it's my niece. She's very social justice minded. She's very equality minded. She's very into inclusion. And the fact that she couldn't do any of that was also difficult for her mental health. That's what she does and that's what she's interested in. And she couldn't reach out and be supportive to other people in her community either. So she's found ways to do that through her social media. There are ways that you can find a middle ground and you can do things for your mental health without putting other people in compromised situations. And I think that's what everyone needs to work on this year, is find ways to don't focus on what you don't have, focus on what you do have and what you can do. And I know that's easier said than done. I've been working on that all year. I've been working on that since last year. I wallowed for a long time and just focused on everything I lost. I was like, I can't run races. I can't teach yoga. I can't do this. I can't do that. And then I remembered what a very wise woman who was my yoga teacher, my teacher training teacher, taught me, probably the most important lesson of my life. She said that she would have students come into the yoga studio. She said they would always come in and say what was wrong with them. She's like, I don't know what it is. They'd walk in and give her a laundry list of, well, I got a bad neck. I had surgery on my elbow. I broke my ankle. I have a bad hip. And she would say, not to be dismissive, she'd say, yeah. I don't want to know all that. What can you do? And she said, you are not your injury. You are not your illness. You are more than your injury and your illness. That does not define who you person. And my niece is the walking embodiment of that. She is really good at that. What my yoga teacher taught us was when someone comes in and they have loss of some kind of ability or something that they're challenged with, you don't focus on what they can't do. You focus on what they can do. She said, even if a person says, well, I can't raise my right arm. It's like, well, can you raise your left arm? Let's work with your left arm. Well, I can't stand on my right foot. Okay, can you stand on your left foot? Let's work on that. And you focus on what you can do. And by doing that, you build up the strength and the positivity of that you do start realizing all the things that you have available to you. And that's the word she used. She said, focus on what is available to you in this moment. What is available to you that will bring you joy, that will bring you happiness, that will allow you to enjoy the movement of your body. In other words, taking it away from the yoga practice, what is available to you mentally that you can do? For me, I lost all my teaching. I lost all my races. I was dealing with a lot of grief from losing 3 pets over the past year. I really felt like I needed my races and my yoga teaching to help get me through that grief, and that got taken away, so the grief was worse. And I just really spiraled down and wallowed really badly. Somehow, with friends and things, I started thinking, well, the one thing I could do is just sit here and vlog and go on YouTube and do this. And I might not be changing the world, and I have my measly little handful of subscribers, but it's keeping me from losing my mind. Now I lose my mind in a good way for you guys. You have to adapt. We have to try new ways of doing things. See what is available to us, not just focus on all the things that we can't do and all the things that are taken away. Right? Thank you. Right. Because you have me. And in the meantime, be mindful of our words. Self-care is by nature selfish because it's self-care. You're taking care of yourself, obviously. If your self-care is purely selfish and for selfish motives, then it's not a very positive thing. Your self-care, like I said, should be, let me be a better person so I can be a better person all around for everyone, for my family, my friends, my loved ones, my doggies, my chickens, my ducks, especially this guy. Please be mindful of your words. Don't be ableist. Do some reading on ableism. You can Google it. There are great articles. I'm going to put one link below. That was an article I read about it. Educate yourself, because I think when you have no disabilities, or maybe you don't know anyone with disabilities, you don't think of these things. I have amazing friends. I have a friend with lupus. I have 2 or 3 friends with fibromyalgia. I have a friend with hereditary angioedema. I have a friend friend with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and I have friends with psoriatic arthritis. So I have friends who all have invisible illnesses and disabilities. And I also know a lot of people who are in wheelchairs and unable to walk. So I kind of know a lot of people like that and who just don't have the strength and the health that I've been lucky enough to have. I feel like, why them and not me? And they're wonderful people. They don't deserve any of what they're going through. And it frustrates me, you know? So without, like I said, without being ableist about it, I can't fix anybody. I can't speak for them, but I can be supportive and tell other people, don't know people that are challenged with any kind of health issues. You need to think about what you say, think about what you post, and you don't have to totally censor yourself and not speak your mind. Understand that there may be consequences. You speaking your mind, there might be some consequence to it at some point, and you should be prepared to explain, apologize, maybe understand. Listen to somebody if they say, you know, I know you meant that, you're coming at this from your mental health standpoint, but that was kind of very insensitive to me, and I took it a little bit like, you really don't know me or what I'm going through, and it seems like you're not really understanding. And I think it's a great way to have more connection, and that's the thing, we're all lacking in connection right now, and there's no excuse for that. You can connect with people, talk to people who are struggling. I don't mean talk at them. You can say, how can I best support you through this? Because I understand you may be struggling now. I'm struggling too. And that's another thing, is you find that when you're struggling and you help someone else who is struggling, it makes your struggle easier. I don't know why people don't talk about this more. If you're really depressed and you want to not be really depressed, go and do some good deeds and help some people. And it's so healing, and because it pulls you out of yourself. And I think everybody is so, because of being locked in and locked at home, closed off from everything and closed off from society, everyone's kind of shut down like that, and everyone's gone into like this like cave mode where we're all like just in our own little pain, you know, our little depression pain cave of all like, oh, you know, the world's scary, we can't do what we want, we don't know what's going on, there's so much uncertainty. But if you want to get out of that and pull yourself out of it, and you want to feel better and like you're doing something, reach out to people. But reach out to them and just say, hey, how are you doing? Is there anything I can do for you? Is there any way I can support you? Or is there anything you want to talk to me about? And I just did that today with a friend who lost 2 family members. I told her, I said, if you ever need to talk, you can call me. I'm free therapy. I'll be your therapist. You can just talk to me and I won't charge you hourly rate. You know, she started laughing. And I said, look, you know, you can call me. And she was joking, saying, yeah, because it's the first time I think I've heard her voice in like a year. We text, but we never talk. And she called me and we talked, and it was great. We talked so long. I had been sending her little gifts and cards and things just for no reason, just as support. And that's the thing I do too. I just send out cards to people and gifts. I sent my niece so many gifts last year just for no reason, because I knew she was having a hard time. And I know not everyone can afford to do that. You can make a homemade card and mail it to someone. There are so many little things you can do. But the big thing is, don't force help on people. Let people use their own voice and be supportive of their voice. That's the best way I can tell you to not be ableist, is give people who feel they don't have a voice, but don't speak for them. Don't put words in their mouth. And don't feel like I'm going to be your defender and I'm going to be your shield and no, because that's ableist. My niece said everything she needed to say in her video, and my video is to say what she said. And if you want to come for her, you got to go through me. No, she could totally defend herself. In closing, take care of yourselves, keep yourselves safe, take care of your loved ones, don't do anything stupid, stop going to parties, stay home. You've just been given the gift of time to completely change your life and reinvent yourself. And you can do whatever you want. And that's what I'm doing. I was teaching yoga and running and doing all the stuff I was doing. Now I'm YouTubing. I said for years I wanted to do this. God, I think my first video I uploaded was, God, I don't know how many years ago, but it's got to be a long time, longer than some of the biggest influencers have been on YouTube, which is kind of pisses me off because I never did anything with it. I just had my channel sitting here for years and years and years and never did anything. And this year, when I had everything kind of shut down and I felt like everything's been taken from me, I'm like, well, I have been given time. I have a phone. I'm recording this on my phone right now. If you don't have an expensive camera, you record on your phone. I did invest a lot into my YouTube because this is something I'm taking really seriously. And because I love it and it makes me so happy. Even if no one's watching, I don't care. I like doing this and I love editing. So I need to record so I have shit to edit. Anyway, sorry this was such kind of a heavy topic. I hope I did it justice for my niece. I feel like I can never say anything right with this subject because I never want to offend anyone about it. I never want to say the wrong thing. But I think a lot of times we're so afraid to say the wrong thing that we say nothing. And that's bad too. It's better to say something than maybe admit you were wrong or that you misunderstood and apologize and say, well, now I've been educated. Let me say it better. Or how can I say this better? Even if my niece comes back and said, well, that was good and that was good, but let me tell you about this and this that you said, then I'm willing to hear that. And that's what people have to do more. I mean, not just with this subject, with everything, drama, with relationships, all these influencers going to parties and saying, oh yeah, I heard you, I'm not going to do that anymore. And then the next week they're at another party with no masks. It's like, no, you're not getting it. You're not listening. And clearly you don't care. Meeting people at least part of the way and showing that you're willing to learn and care is like so much. And it's sad that that's how low the baseline is set in this world. So it's 2021. Let's do better. Stay safe. See you in the next one.